Picture this. It's 8 a.m. at a VA medical center. The morning clinic is stacked. No seating, standing room only. Phones are ringing off the hook. A provider is trying to pull up a patient chart in the back rooms, and then the screen just hangs. Not forever, just long enough for the room to go quiet and people to start getting annoyed. And that right there is why this video matters if you're a government contractor anywhere near health IT, EHR deployments, service desk, cyber, training, testing, infrastructure, or program management. Because the VA's federal electronic health record rollout is restarting in 2026. And it's not just a restart, by the way. VA leadership has described it as a reboot with a push for faster, wave-based deployments and quicker return to normal after go-live scenarios. Today, I'm going to break down the story of how we got here, the backstory, the setbacks, the reset, and then I'm going to show you how contractors can avoid becoming a footnote in the next oversight report and actually win work. And stay to the end, because if you want the 2026 VA EHR deployment locations and go live schedule, comment below go live and we'll send you that 2026 deployment go live schedule. But before we get into the type of opportunities that are going to be out there for you as a government contractor, or even the go live locations and the schedule, let's get a little bit into the backstory of how we got here today. And here's a short, honest version of the VA EHR story. In 2018, VA signed the contract for a new EHR with Cerner. This had the goal of modernizing records and improving interoperability. Cerner was later acquired by Oracle in June 2022. So you're going to hear this called Oracle Health, Oracle Cerner, Cerner Millennium. Really think about this, same family tree, different name badges. The first VA go live on the new EHR happened in October 24th, 2020. Then deployments expanded in 2022 to additional VA medical centers. And this is where the plot thickens, because the rollout didn't just hit normal implementation friction. It ran into a persistent performance and usability problem serious enough that the VA paused new deployments in April of 2023 after rolling out to only five medical centers. Oversight bodies started measuring the turbulence in cold, hard numbers. The VA Office of Inspector General identified 826 major performance incidents between October 2020 and March 2024. These included outages, performance degradations, incomplete functionality, and reported that more than half happened after the 2023 pause. So here we go. You got a program with massive mission importance, an expensive technology core, and a history that makes people skeptical on site, which brings us to the reboot. This reboot has been described in 2026 as a make or break type scenario because the VA plans to resume go lives in waves, starting with a cluster of sites in Michigan in April 2026, then additional waves later in the year. VA's own deployment schedule lays out a cadence by month, and it's designed as a market style approach, regional groupings rather than scattered one-offs. VA leadership has also emphasized that the goal isn't simply, can you just go live? It's go live and return to normal operations faster, recover clinic productivity, stabilize operations, and reduce disruption. And here's beautiful. If you're a contractor, that framing matters because it tells you what VA will reward. Not we can staff bodies, not we can write a plan, but we can control the chaos of go live and prove that we can do it. Now, here's the twist. The biggest risks for contractors on this program aren't hidden in the software. They're hidden in the handoffs between clinical operations and IT, between primes and subs, between vendor and government, between what's promised and what's measurable. So let me walk you through this like a story. 5 moments where teams usually lose a plot and how you keep yours intact. The first part of the story that contractors often get wrong, but is essential, especially for what's happening with the Department of Veterans Affairs, is the customization trap. Every big implementation has a seductive lie. In the VA EHR world, it sounds like this. Let each site design the system around how they already work. Feels empathetic, feels flexible, and it can quietly create 4 parallel realities within one enterprise. Even VA officials have talked about early deployments where sites had too much freedom to design their own approach while the vendor enabled it. For contractors, this is where you decide what kind of partner you are. The teams that win in 2026 won't be selling custom everything. They'll be selling standardization with exceptions, a disciplined baseline, a governance process, and a way to keep local tweaks from turning into national maintenance nightmares. And once you've chosen baseline first, you hit the next moment of truth. This is the go live that everyone wants versus the go live that everyone just survives. In most programs, go live is treated like a finish line. In reality, it's a stress test. You don't learn whether your integrations are real until real clinicians use them in real time in the real world. You don't learn whether training worked until the second week when adrenaline fades and workarounds begin. That's why the smartest teams build what I call a permission to pause. Not because you want to delay, but because you want to be credible. GAO, the Government Accountability Office, has said VA has made incremental improvements, but still needs stronger program fundamentals, like updated cost estimates and schedules, and it flagged a significant backlog of configuration change requests. What does this mean for contractors? Well, VA is under pressure to move forward, but it is also under pressure to do it responsibly. The value at the end of the day is proving that you can run a go live with readiness gates that are firm enough to protect veterans and clinicians, but practical enough to keep momentum of the implementation. Which brings us to the human part of the story, the part proposals love to reduce to one word: training. The scene everyone writes, but really nobody's directing. Every proposal says it when it comes to this type of work. Few proposals act like they've watched training fail in real life. Because training isn't a PowerPoint. It's a behavior change campaign under pressure inside a medical environment where people can't just slow down because the system is new. And the other part that's very unique about the hospital, the healthcare system, is that doctors believe that they know everything. It's part of why sometimes EHR implementations take a lot longer and have a lot more problems than they should. The OIG reporting and broader oversight coverage have consistently described stress, burnout, and workflow disruptions tied to performance incidents as usability problems. So the contractor advantage here is storytelling with proof. You don't just train, you create confidence. You create muscle memory. You build super users. You build at the elbow support that makes the first month survivable. And when go live pressure peaks, that's one place every problem ends up. Then we get, once we go live, the command center. This is where programs are either going to mature or the capabilities are going to melt. And this becomes the nerve center of the new reality. This is where the program proves it can tell the difference between a nuisance ticket and a clinical risk. The VA OIG's major performance incidents includes the kind of events that block or degrade access and functionality. And the reporting even breaks out responsibility between vendor and VA for many incidents. For contractors, this is where you protect your CPARs and your reputation. You define triage, escalation, and ownership like your future depends on it, because it probably will. And finally, the last part of this story, the scene that one decides whether leadership says we're improving or oversight says prove it, is metrics. Metrics tell the truth. And here's what happens on shaky programs. Reporting becomes theater. Dashboards look clean, slides look confident. Meanwhile, users are inventing workarounds and the service desk is drowning. GAO's work has emphasized the need for better measurement of modernization programs and stronger program management discipline. So if you're a contractor, your differentiator isn't we report weekly. It's we report what predicts success and how we do it. And also, we're brave enough to show the ugly numbers early before they become headline. And if we're talking about headlines, let's talk about the key points about where we are in the story thus far. VA modernizes the EHR, goes live first in 2020, expands, hits serious issue, pauses further deployments in 2023. Next part, oversight measures the turbulence, hundreds of major incidents over multiple years. Not good. VA says it's stabilizing, resetting the approach, and restarting in 2026 with wave deployments and faster recovery times after go live. So what does this mean if you're a government contractor? Well, if you're growing your government contracting business, this opportunity is real, either as a prime or as a sub, most likely as a sub. But the winners are going to be the teams that sell operational control, not optimism. Because in 2026, the VA doesn't just need a system that can go live. It needs go lives that don't become stories that end up with Congress. And if you want to find out the 2026 VA EHR deployment locations and schedules for go live, comment go live below, and we'll send you that deployment and go live schedule for 2026. As always, if you have any questions, any thoughts, comment below. We try to respond to every single question, every single comment as they come in. And lastly, check out our playlist for how you can navigate and win federal contracting solicitations easily. Thanks for watching. See you next time.